Every family experiences conflict, but they all experience it in very different ways. How families resolve conflict will impact the members of that family, especially the children, for the rest of their lives. This is why focusing on implementing programs that facilitate healthy and productive conflict resolution within the family unit is so important. The way conflicts are approached by the adults in the family will impact the way that the children growing up in that environment understand conflict and conflict resolution. Whether they will be impacted negatively by conflict will depend on whether the conflicts are constructive and whether or not they have a resolution at all. However, most of us aren't ever taught proper conflict resolution skills, and we may ourselves avoid conflict or be unable to communicate our feelings effectively, or even understand what feelings led to the conflict in the first place. So how could we possibly implement healthy conflict resolution in our own homes or families and teach it to our children if maybe we've never witnessed it in our own family dynamic growing up? Well, this is why the topic of conflict resolution within the family is so crucial. Conflict between parents is children's first interaction with conflict, and it will shape children's view of conflict, but it can also have an impact on their future development, attachment style, and mental health outcomes. Destructive conflict within the family can lead to negative outcomes for children who witness it. Destructive conflict includes conflict that isn't properly resolved, and in conflict that includes defensiveness, stonewalling, contempt, criticism, or even worse, conflict that leads to yelling, violence, and domestic abuse. When children are experiencing these traumatic conflicts often, they feel unsafe and uncertain about their place in the world. However, when conflicts can be resolved in a productive and constructive manner with mindful communication techniques, such as emphasizing emotion, practicing empathy, and non-judgment, children seem to be positively impacted by those conflicts. So this shows us just how important it is to model healthy conflict resolution for children so they can be capable of achieving that in their own future. I believe the way to implement this within more families in our culture and country would be by offering services such as counseling, anger management classes, conflict resolution classes, effective communication classes, and mindfulness classes. These can help everyone to learn to communicate more effectively and in a more productive and constructive way. We need to teach the adults in the family to listen from a place of empathy when they're in an argument, as opposed to listening from a place of defensiveness. And once that is implemented, those adults will begin to model this behavior for the children in their own families, therefore teaching them how to resolve conflict in a healthier way. Since the outcomes of conflict on families is so greatly impacted by the nature of the conflict resolution, I think the best outcome is to implement these services beginning with young children. We can do this by providing conflict resolution, communication, and wellness classes in public schools, beginning in elementary schools. By offering these services to children as early of an age as possible, we would be ensuring that the next generation has the proper skills to resolve conflicts and teach that to their families. We should also provide counseling services both for individuals and families in order to aid with conflict resolution as well. This should create healthier, stronger individuals with greater problem solving and communication skills, which would lead to stronger family units and therefore a stronger society. But what we can each try to do today for our own families is to resolve conflict in as healthy of a way as possible, to actively listen and to approach conflicts from a place of empathy when dealing with conflicts in our own homes. Conflict will always be present within families, but the best way to combat its negative impact is to learn healthy communication skills and to use those skills as we navigate conflict in our own families.